Okay. So let's just start with our standing. And the particular interpretation I'm going to be using is from a guy called Peter Deadman. Not a very nice name for a Qigong teacher, but he's a very bright guy who is an editor of the Journal of Chinese Medicine in the UK, which is a top research journal in Chinese medicine. But he's been a Qigong practitioner for many, many years. And he's very pedantic and he's very English. And so he does all his forms really slowly. So I won't be quite as slow as him, but I will try and focus on a few little things that just make the form better. Okay, so let's just stand initially, feet under our hips, feeling the rooting of your feet into the ground, feeling that little triangular sacrum at the back dropping down so that your lumbar spine lengthens. And seeing that you've got this gap, so knees not in, but knees slightly out here so that you've got a little U shape at the groin there, and this same kind of U shape as you open through the axilla here. So as you're dropping the sacrum down, you're lengthening the lumbar spine, you're rooting in with your feet, feeling your heels, the sides of your feet, outsides of your feet, pads, the front pads and the pads of the toes all touching the ground and all rooting, becoming glued to the ground, but growing roots down. Long spine, as you just dip your chin or tuck your chin in, feeling that your neck lengthens upwards and your head is lifting slightly up there and your shoulders are dropped down. So just take a couple of seconds to feel your posture. Soften your face if your face is a little bit stressed from sitting in a line of cars or whatever it is. Just settling into yourself. Right, so any practice, it's good to start off with just standing for a couple of minutes. And then pop your hand just below your belly button and let's breathe deeply down into the belly, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the nose. And because this is a practice where we're going to want to relax into it, allow your exhale to be a little bit longer than your inhale. It can still be through your nose and out through your nose. So we know that breathing in through the nose, going all through these sinus passages there, stimulates the release of nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator. So all your vessels in the body are actually going to just expand a little bit while we do this practice when you're breathing through your nose. We're also breathing into the diaphragm. So instead of getting a cup of air into the lungs, we're getting a whole liter of air into the lungs. So as we practice, we've got these lovely relaxed vessels, which are slightly wider, and they're going to be carrying more oxygenated blood to the body. So keeping us healthy. And because we're going to do lots of twists and turns, we're going to get blood supply to all the little nooks and crannies that they wouldn't get to when we're just sitting or standing. Pop your hands just under the last ribs there. And breathing in, push your hands away. Breathing out, let your hands follow the diaphragm. So breathing in. So the diaphragm's pushing down as you do that. As you breathe out, the diaphragm's coming up. So it's getting shorter. Okay, so breathing in. And if you practice regularly, your diaphragm is going to have twice the expansion or range of motion than the average person who doesn't really think about breathing at all. And your diaphragm is part of the core of the body. So if you have got a strong diaphragm, you've got a strong core. It's not just about your tummy muscle, it's about your core muscles and your pelvic floor and your tummy muscles and your little short back muscles. Okay, and let's just loosen up a little bit through the shoulder and the elbow and the hand. Feel your shoulder blades moving right up along the ribs and then dropping down along the ribs at the back as well. And because we do a lot of work with computers and driving, our shoulder blades tend to be a little bit further forwards than they could be. And so we're often restricted in the movement going back. So it's a lovely movement just to do any time during the day that you've been sitting for a long time or driving for a long time. Just feel the smoothness of the shoulder blades moving up and down the ribs. And at the same time, feel how when you go back, you're stretching the muscles and the fascia from the top shoulders to the opposite hip, because that's the way the fascial lines go through the waist. So the movements in Qigong that involve the waist are really, really important for us because they connect the top and the bottom half of the body together. And you can lift a foot as you do this as well. Okie dokes, and let's just do a circle of your hips. So front, side, back, side. And once you've got those 4 different points that you're moving your pelvis through, make it into a little bit of an oval, just a smooth oval as you move, but see that your pelvis goes forward, side, back, and to the other side. You may notice it's a little bit stiffer going to one side than the other. Opposite way around, and off you go. And hand on your knees, and let's do a little bit of circling through the knees. So your hands are just supporting your knees here. It's very good for strengthening your knees as well. Just keeping the movement there, opposite direction. Okay, hands on the tiger's heads there. And let's do a little bit of movement through your toes and the long bones of the foot. Through the ankle, through the knee. The knee is a hinge joint, so it hasn't got a lot of movement. It's more backwards and forwards. When you get to the hip, it's a ball and socket, so you should get much more of a circular movement up there. Try and feel where the hip is joining onto the pelvis there. Opposite way around. You've got 80% of weight in the one leg. Go back to the knee, back to the ankle. Ankle joint's a bit of a chunky joint, also sort of more of a backwards and forwards joint. But once you get into the foot, there's lots of little bones there that need to do all sorts of different kinds of movements, and then down to your toes and shake it out, opposite side. Okay, 80% one side, slightly bent knee, and start with your foot. Feeling into your foot. Loads of little bones in there. Up to the ankle, to the knee, to the hip, change the direction. Hip and then knee, ankle, and then into the foot. Shake it out. Good. Hey, my dog. Let's spread the feathers and stretch the neck. So hands facing forwards, bottom goes back, scoop forwards, drop your tailbone, tuck your chin in, have a long spine before you start, and your thumbs are circling forwards there. Breathing through the nose and through the mouth, just drop your ear down to shoulder. Really slowly, just taking up any of the slack there, allowing the soft tissue just to soften as you hold it there. You can maybe push the arm in the opposite direction a little bit more down to the floor, and you should feel a stretch going through the front of the neck there. Breathe in, come up. And breathe out through the mouth. Let go to the other side. Stretching down, down, down. Getting a little bit of stretch going down into the arm. Stretching in the front of the arm there. Come back up. Back of the hands face forwards. You scoop behind you. Again, sit back. Come around and up. Now you've got your little fingers coming around. And breathe in and drop your ear down to your shoulder again. And now we're stretching more the back side of the arms. And coming up, breathing in. And breathing out and dropping down. And coming up, and pop your hands behind your back as high as you can. Put them together. So this is opening your shoulders nicely. And we're going to work on opening the top joints of your neck here. So dropping your ear down to your shoulder. And once you're there, just little circles of your chin. Chin circles. You might feel a bit of creakiness in the neck. It's fine. It's like brushing your teeth in the morning. Just clearing those little joints so they don't get stiff. Most of the neck rotation happens in the first two joints there. Come back up, breathe in, and breathe out, drop down. And opposite direction. Right. Let's move the body like a river. So we're looking for the side bending through the spine as we do this. We're looking at changing the weight from one leg to the other. And as we're doing that, maintaining this arch in the groin here, not collapsing the knees, and getting a little bit of a stretch of your adductors as you come over to the side. And initially just feel how the weight changes from one side to the other, sinking down. So when you're bending your knees so that your knee doesn't go too far over your toes, but you're also thinking about sinking at your hips. So if it sink at the hips, you're much less likely to irritate your knees in Qigong than if you're not aware of that. And it's really going to strengthen your groins and your quads and your lower back and your hips. So you can just be standing at the table cutting vegetables or something and doing this, but don't use a very sharp knife. Okay. Okay, so let's bring our side bend of the spine into that. So you can bring your hands lower down and side bend spine and then the head. So hips, lumbar spine, thoracic, neck, head, and just side wave right through the spine, feeling as if your spine is a string of beads, and they're from the bottom, each one is moving sideways, 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 and then in the opposite direction. And we're often very stiff in the upper part of the spine. And we are, because those ribs are attached. The ribs are attached to the spinal joints there, so there is more stiffness. But usually there's a lot more movement there than we think there is. And so a lot of people have lost it ages ago. Feel as you get the end of the movement that you're actually getting some movement through your neck. We often hold our neck very tightly, so try and soften so you get a little bit of a bend through the neck as you finish that movement. And come up. Whew. Stretch up. Right. Good. And come down. And let's just do a little bit of dragon work before we go on to the Tai Chi Shibasa. Dragon work, so hands together, feet a little bit wider than your hips. So we're going to go to the side, hands to the same side, head to the opposite side. We can vary this. Come to the center, hips, hands, and neck. So it's really going to help get some of that stiffness out of the neck as we do this. As we come down, we can bend into the knees a little bit, or if your knees aren't too good, don't worry about it. Center, feel the center, and then feel the hips, hands, and head coming across. Hips, hands, and head coming across. Now try hips, hands to the opposite side, head to the same side, and you'll have a slightly different effect coming in. Hips, you have to think about it a little bit more. Hands, opposite side, head. The same time, you're getting a little bit of stretch through your inner thigh muscles again. Very nice for neck mobility. Center and to the side. And let's just swim with the dragon right from the bottom of the river. Now, this movement is not just an arm movement, it's a movement of the arms that really comes from a rotational movement of your trunk or your body. So feel as if you're moving your body, and so your arms follow. Slowly, you're swimming from the bottom of the river up to break the surface of the water once you get your hands above your head. Really looking at that reptilian kind of movement going through your spine and locking all those stiff little joints. Sometimes our joints move in 3s or 4s because they're really stuck together. All right, up. Get right up to the top, come up on your toes. And relax. Let's do another one. Round we go. Round. So get nice movement now going through your hips. Feel that movement coming up from the ground all the way out into the arms. Your hips, your lumbar spine, your thoracic spine, into your neck. And your shoulders moving freely over the ribs there, because we've already loosened them up a bit. And then coming out through the top of the water, up to the sky, up on your toes. Very important to stand on your toes and strengthen your ankles. And breathe out and come down. Right here, okay. Tai Chi Qigong standing position. Feet a little bit closer in. And hands just below your belly, just quieten down. Close your eyes for a second. And let your breathing drop. Long and slow. Allow your face to soften, shoulders soften. Tailbone dropping down towards the earth, feet rooted head lifted up, long spine. So the first move of Tai Chi Shibasa is the opening move of Tai Chi, which we know really well, which is the one where we bring our arms up just as far as shoulder height and then coming down. Now, as we're doing this, we're looking particularly at the elasticity of the body. So as we're moving up, feel as if you're lengthening the body. So you're lengthening from your knees, through the pelvis, through the trunk, and up into your arms. And then as you come down, you're just releasing the tissue. So think about the soft tissue of your body lengthening upwards. You're rooted in the ground, but it's getting longer. It's almost like I'm taking my pants and making them longer, right through the hips, all the way up to shoulder nest. Thinking very much of connection of shoulder nest here with the groin, lengthening this whole area, bringing the elastic in, elastic stretch, and then just relaxing back into that softness. So let's see how we go. So breathing in through the nose and breathing out. Your knees are just relaxed. It's not a big bend, it's just a little bit of relaxation, then softness in the knees. Feeling your body lengthen, you're getting longer. Feel that getting longer. As you come down, you relax back into your body. And breathing in, breathing out. So when you breathe in, it's as if your body's got so long that your arms start opening up. When you come down, let your elbows start the movement as you come down. Be aware of your palms. Soften the elbows, let them come down. Feel yourself rooted down into the ground, but your head lifted up to the sky. Lengthen your body, lengthen, and drop back into the body again. Lengthening, very soft. Coming down. Feel as when you're lifting your arms, feel your shoulder blades dropping down. Back. As you're lifting, your shoulder blades are dropping down and they're also opening. So if you can't feel the shoulder blades opening because they're too tightly pinned together, just bring your elbows a little bit closer and you'll feel how the shoulder blades open at the back. It's often a lot of upper back issues are because there's too much tension between the shoulder blades there and coming down. Our second movement is going to be broadening the chest. So we're going to, same movement coming up, almost a little flick as we get to here. And then our palms are going to face each other and we're going to open. We're not going to pull our shoulder blades back. We want to keep this circle, this very powerful circle. So hands aren't close, hands are there. And there's a roundness coming from the shoulders, elbows, hands. So we come up, palms face each other and feel as if they're connected. As you open, feel as if your palms are connected there. And as you get to the end of that movement, a little flick. And then another little flick as you come down. All right. So we'll start off with a breath in, a breath out, feeling your palms connected, a breath in, and a breath out. And in, and out, in, and out. And now see if you could have a long in breath. So it's breath in, out, and out. Be very aware of your palms. And in, feel them connected, feel them connecting, and out. And when you put your intention on any part of the body, then you send a lot more energy there, blood there, bioelectricity, whatever it is. So if I'm thinking about my palms, then they start to tingle a little bit, okay? Just think about sometimes you're in company and you kind of think your face might be going red, and then it goes really red because you're thinking of it and you're embarrassed, and circulation opens up, but because you're thinking about it. Down. One more in. And in. Out. And out. Third move is called dancing with rainbows. And what's going to happen here is we're going to be doing that movement, but we're not going to be doing that movement. We want to get a really upright movement here. So we root it into the ground, and this hand is going to go as if it's going around the edge of a wheel. So weight, more weight on this side, take your weight over, as if you're going round a wheel. Round, 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 until your hand comes up and it's facing over the top of your head. That's your baihai, that's the top. Do your 20, very important acupuncture point there. And at the same time as you're doing this, the other hand is going to go out to the side at the level of your shoulder, palm facing up, and you turn your head to have a look into that palm, into the Gong point. Come back. All right. Weight to the side, hand goes around the wheel as the other hand goes out to above your head, turn to look at the other hand. And then you just shift your weight across. And this hand goes around the wheel and this hand goes at your shoulder level. Have a look at your hand there. So breathing in. As you're doing this, feel that you're lifting through the shoulder and you're actually getting an extension or elasticity coming all the way from your shoulder down to your hip and all the way down to your foot and your leg. And the other thing you're looking at is getting a soft arm here, softness through the shoulder as you look at the hand, soft palm, and then across the other side. Weight goes across. Look at the other hand. Check that this hand is not coming forwards, but in line with your head, and over across. So playing with rainbows is a very light movement. Breathing in, shifting your weight across, lengthening through the spine, lengthening through your shoulder, bringing your shoulder back. It's a beautiful exercise to improve shoulder movement and neck movement as well. But feel that stretch coming all the way up the side of the body there. And then we'll come down. And the next movement is parting the clouds, which we're fairly familiar with. So our hands are going to come one hand on top of the other and wrists cross, this famous wrist cross position, because these are the gates of the arm. Here we've got pericardium 6, that very strong point for nausea, and a very strong point for immunity on that side. So palms are crossed, and we're going to come up and open up to the sky, hands facing up towards the sky, and then coming back. And then you cross with the other arm on top. And now let's push out forwards and around. Opposite hand on top. Soften your knees, push out. It's called parting the clouds. I really like to do parting the clouds with 1 foot forward. See how that feels for you. So 1 foot in front and part the clouds. So you lunge forwards with that and come back. Other foot forwards, parting the clouds. And again, we're looking at that same movement where we're not staying here. We want to get this martial arts position of strong through the back, the shoulders, the elbows, the hand, parting the clouds there, not here. All right. Okay, so just do a couple of those. So wrist cross, and keep those wrists not touching each other, but in line with each other, coming back. Nice for balance if you do it with a lunge. Breathe in. That's an out breath. Coming back, breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Let's do 2 to the other side. Breathing out. So you can imagine just clearing the fuzziness in your mind, clearing any fuzziness in your body, clearing any fuzziness in your emotions. Just opening up your vision. All right, so that's number 4. Number 5, we hold the ball in front, and it's called turning the waist and twisting the palm. And it's actually taken from one of the liver flows. So palms facing each other. The bottom hand is going to go back, and you're going to watch the bottom hand as it stretches right back, turning at the waist. And then your hand comes back past your head, and you twist the palm to hold the ball again. All right, so turning the waist, take this hand back, have a look at it with your head, with your eyes, bring it back past the ear. And as you come forwards, twist the palm so you hold the ball again. Turning the waist, watching your hand go back, bringing it past your head, turning the wrist as you come to, hold the ball again. Turning at the waist, reaching out behind, coming back as if you're pushing through again. And just do one more to each side, turning, coming back. Feel the palms connecting there, pulling away, gathering, coming back. And we'll do one more here, which is called rowing the boat. So imagine yourself in the center of beautiful still lake, rowing the boat forwards. What we're doing here is, if you can, as you row, bend your knees a little bit, coming back. You can't go up high, it doesn't matter. You might just do a little row around here, that's absolutely fine. So imagine what it is like to row a boat in the center of a still lake, dipping your oars into the water to move. Let your hands turn as they come forwards, because you're always looking for spirals in Qigong. It's the way the body moves, the way the body is laid out is in spirals. Bring the hands back to the center. Right, so that's our first 6 movements. We're going to go through them again, and I think we'll just do 3 of each. Okay. Tai Chi Qigong position. Feel rooted, head lifted up, chin tucked in, that little triangle tailbone dropping down, opening your lumbar spine. Okay, and if we go into the opening, move softly, opening. Notice how your shoulders feel, elbows, hands. Again, being aware of your palms, palms coming down last, shoulders going forwards, elbows, and last your hands come up, and then let the elbows soften and your hands come down. Do 6. You're supposed to do 6 of each, so let's just do 6 of each. 4, 5. And Qigong, we flow like water, so we try not to go to any little hesitations. We just go through to the next one. So the next movement is going to be broadening the chest. So we come up and we open, keeping the palms connected, closing and down. Breathing in, if you can, breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe out. In, out, out, in. Going to make a change into dancing with rainbows. Weight onto the one side, around the wheel, above your head. Look at the other hand. Keep that central position, which I'm losing, and over. Lifting through the body, through the shoulders, looking at your palm, hand over the center of your head. Shift your weight to the side that you lift your hand up. Shift to the weight to the side where you lift your hand up. Stepping 1 foot forwards and we part the clouds. Opposite arm in front. Do 3 to each side. Bring the other foot up. Hold your chi ball. Turn the waist. Look behind. And twist the palm as you come forwards to hold the ball. Turn the waist. Look behind, hand comes past your ear. Turning your wrist there, twisting the palm. 1 more to each side. Coming into sitting in your rowing boat and rowing the boat. Do 6 of these. And we'll come into finishing with pulling down the heavens so your hands face the ground here, facing gravity, pulling up. Big turn when you get up to shoulder height. And then all the way up to face the sky. And then you come down and you just feel that you're balancing that whole bioelectric field in front of you, balancing your mind, your heart, and your body. Feel gravity, feel that you're pulling up against gravity there. Feel that strength of the gravitational field. Traditionally, when you open up, this is the field of nature, and the field of nature is where human beings and the animals and the trees and plants live. So this is our kind of real homey place. And then up to the sky, where there's lots of wisdom and inspiration. And then just as if you're calming your body there, open, big turn, up. So if you're standing under a waterfall, just cleansing your mind, your emotions, your body, strengthening it. Last one, breathing in, gravity, big turn to nature, breathing in up to the sky and the stars, and breathing out. Hands just coming to rest just below the navel. Close your eyes for a couple of seconds and just allow your body to settle into wherever it feels it is after all that movement. Feel your feet still rooted. Feel it. Notice if you've got a bit more stability through your feet into the ground. Notice if you've got a bit more length in your spine as you allow your little sacrum to drop down and your chin to tuck in. Maybe you can feel a little bit more elasticity and robustness through your spine. And softness in your face. shoulders and your jaw. Just take 1 or 2 nice long deep breaths into your belly. Goody. Thank you. So that is the first 6 moves of Tai Chi, Shibashi, Qigong. And we'll do another 2 sets and then we'll do them all together.